Welcome back. Look at me being consistent, but no, seriously. First, I just wanted to kind of give a little trigger warning for this episode, because we are going to be talking about like bullying, unaliving yourself, like suicide, um, and self-harm. So obviously trauma too. So I did want to just give that little trigger warning, kind of to like prepare you guys for what you're going to hear. And there will be resources down below in the description if you do need to just talk to somebody, because your mental health comes first and you need to it's important to take care of yourself. Um, all right. So with that being said, I do have notes. And it's gonna probably be hard for me not to look at that. Um, but I'm gonna try to not look at it so much, but I did want to have a little bit more of a structure for this episode just because it's kind of like really heavy and it doesn't only it's not only to do with me. So I did want to, kind of make sure I got my shit together for this one. Um, but I did want to discuss, like I said, bullying. I was definitely a mean girl, right? I was definitely a mean girl. So I just wanted to like talk about that and kind of like, because that is a part of my healing journey, right? Like, I'm not sitting here to say, like, I'm a better person and give myself a pat on the back and try to defend myself and make myself feel better. Maybe some people can relate to this, whether they were a mean girl or a mean guy, whatever, in school, and then like now they're not, and they're like, wow, I was an asshole, and like I feel like shit about it. Or, like you were affected by somebody in high school, like negatively. So that's kind of why I wanted to address it because some things have been said. And like I said, I'm not here to defend myself. I don't have anything to prove because this is my own healing journey. And what matters is how I think about myself, because I have to remember it does not matter what everybody thinks, right? Like, I know who I am today as a person, and I'm proud of who I am as a person today. And that's really all that matters. But regardless, oh gosh, I feel like such an asshole. But things have been brought up, I did have a couple of people message me. Like one person messaged me and was like, I'm listening to your podcast and I just wanted to kind of let you know something that I've kind of held on to, and like how you made me feel. And, you know, that was a nice way. Like, fucking respect the shit out of that person for coming to me and calling me out on my shit. Doesn't matter if it was a decade ago. Like, it impacted that person in one way or another. So they like told me about it. And I was super appreciative of it because, like, it just shows like the growth of all of us. We're not the same people we were in high school. And like that's powerful. And I think that's amazing. And I think it's beautiful. And, you know, I apologize because rightfully so. Like I impacted that person in a negative way and I was not nice. So accountability, we take accountability and we apologize for our shitty behavior. Um, but then And again, we're not going to sit here and talk and be catty, but you're not going to sit here and screenshot my podcast and send it to your girlfriends and say, "Oh, look at Brit trying to act like she's this good person, like she wasn't a bully, like she didn't bully me throughout high school or whatever. She's so fake, like putting on a front, blah 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 blah." Like, let's pause, baby girl. You want to talk about me to your girlfriends and then message me on whatever and tell me how proud of you are of me and how or whatever, like I'm a great mom and blah 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 blah. Like just pick. Just pick. Because like that's just exhausting, right? Like it's exhausting. Now, there have been times where I've not been, majority of my time in high school, I was not nice. And I'm the first one to admit it. And I have admitted it on the podcast. I was a mean girl, like I've said from the jump. I just, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for my behavior either, right? But I was a child. I was learning, I was growing, and I was in a very unhealthy environment while I was doing those 2 things. So it's just like I was enduring so much trauma in my home life that it's just like I it was also, like, almost like my defense mechanism, right? Like, I was just being this mean person, like, kinda wearing the mask of a mean person or whatever, because I was just fucking terrified. Like, I was always scared of, like, what I was going home to, right? And, like, I was always made to feel so small at home, so, like, when I would go to school, that's what I would do is I would make everyone else feel small. And granted, I was also, like, not awful to everyone, like, there was just some people that I was not nice to, and it makes me sad to know that I I was that person, but, I mean, it is what it is, like, no one's perfect, right? Like, there are some people who are, like, was perfect in high school, like, the nicest person ever, and they still are the nicest person ever, and, like, kudos to them, but, like, that wasn't me, like, I went through it, I was going through it, and I didn't know how to act or behave. Nobody taught me, honestly. So, I was just figuring it out as I was going, and it's like I said, like, I was so scared of, like, what I was going home to. Like, I was scared of, like, you know, I don't know, like, were the cops gonna be at the house when I was gonna go home? Was my mom gonna be in a depressive state? Was she gonna be in full-blown rage? Was she going to be so happy, like, let's go on a shopping spree? Was she gonna be completely crashed out, you know? Would she even be there? Would I have to pick up my stuff again and move again? Like, I was in, like, survival mode, and I was putting on this facade of, like, I'm this tough, bad bitch, and no one can mess with me because at home, I was getting mentally and physically abused, so I was not a strong person. So it's like, I'm gonna put on this facade of, like, I am this strong person. And it was not right by any means for me to do because I was taking it out on other people. Um, but like I was a child. So I do, like I am obviously gonna take like accountability for the way I made people feel. But there's a way to go about that too. You know what I mean? Like I said, you want to message me and let me know that I hurt you in a negative way or whatever. It doesn't matter if it's been a decade. But if you're gonna sit there and still talk shit and try and make me like seem like I'm this fake person, like that's not the way to do it either. So it's like I'm just like very like I guess like when I'm called fake, it's like a trigger. Just a trigger for me. Even though I am trying like obviously I say like it doesn't matter what people think because it doesn't, right? It doesn't matter what people think. But to me, being called fake triggers me into when I was a child and no one believed me, and even when I was, like, in an earlier adult and nobody believed me, and it's like, "Fuck, I'm not lying." Like, I am trying to be a better person or, like, that really did happen to me or, like, whatever, and it's just like it triggers me, but I have to remember again, healing journey, right? We're not healed. Who knows if we'll ever be healed, but we're on the journey of healing. So it's like things are gonna come up that are gonna trigger you differently and you're not gonna know how to act, and that's okay, right? So it's like, whatever. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. I was just always like, remember, like for school, I always felt scared. I always felt uneasy, like in fight or flight mode all the time. And like that was exhausting. But it's like, you know, so many times I remember like my mom driving me to school and falling asleep at the wheel, smoking her cigarette, but like when she would fall asleep, like I could tell she was falling asleep because like obviously like we would sort of like, no, but like also her cigarette ash would get so long that it would fall on the car floor. So it's like, and then every time I would wake her up, like falling asleep, she'd flip out on me. Like, no, I'm not. It's like, okay, I guess I just made that up. Like, we almost just like hit somebody and going in through Appanog, but sure, I just made it up. And it's just like, not even knowing, like, if I'm gonna even make it to school that day, because we could crash the fucking car. But and, like, with that being said, not making it to school or whatever, there's so many times where it's like, I didn't even like, throughout high school, I remember, like, throughout high school, like, majority of my time, like, I did not want to be alive, and that's sad. Like, that's so sad to think about. It's like, I was supposed to be, like, happy, right? It was supposed to be, like, fun times, right? You have no responsibilities. You're not in adulthood yet, whatever, blah, 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 but it's like, yeah, I just there were so many times, like, I've talked about it before on the podcast, like, I tried to unalive myself, and I would love to tell you guys that that was, like, my one and only time. It's not like I did it a bunch of times, but there was, like, one other time that I tried, and, it was just like, I didn't feel like I was worth it. I didn't feel like the self-worth. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I just didn't feel safe or loved, right? It's no surprise. I talk about it all the time, but it's just like that influenced me being that awful person in high school. And, I feel a lot of guilt, I think, of like the person I used to be because I know that I was not nice. Like, I remember even like with my friends, like, how many times I lied to my friends back in high school about stupid stuff? Like, about so many things. Why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I did it and I knew I was doing it and I knew it was wrong, but it's just like, I just had a lot of issues. And I feel bad of like who I was. And like, I always think this might be sound so stupid, and I don't know if this is even a thing, but I always like think to myself, like, oh, people that I have not seen or have not talked to since high school, do they see like me on social media and like think I'm still that awful person? Because I really hope not. At the end of the day, I'm sure nobody really gives a shit about like my life, whatever. I'm not that special. I'm not that special, but no, like, I don't want people to think, like, even associate me with that person. Like, I think about her, and while she was broken and she just wanted to feel loved, I'm just like, why'd you gotta do those things, girl? Like, why'd you gotta book people in the hallway? Why'd you gotta fight people? Like, why'd you have to get in the middle of everything? Why'd you have to call people names? Like, why couldn't you have just been nice? Because I think about like my kids going to high school, and I'm like, yo, if they get bullied, like, I'm gonna feel it's just an awful feeling, and, like I said, I feel guilty, but it's important not to hold on to that guilt because, like, this is a part of my healing journey too, obviously, like I've said, like, growing and coming to terms with who I used to be, accepting it, self-reflecting, forgiving myself, though. Like, I need to forgive myself, I haven't done that yet. I definitely accepted who I used to be, and I've done some self-reflecting. But like when things like this come up where like people are saying like I am trying to act like I'm this like good, nice person, it just like triggers me into thinking like, oh shit, like I really did, I don't know, like I really did a number on people, I guess. And it breaks my heart. And I really Now, I'm not gonna sit here and apologize to every single person, like, privately, but I do wanna apologize to, like, if I affected you negatively or hurt you in any way, like, when in my younger years, I do wanna apologize because that was not my intention. Like, it had nothing to do with you, I promise you, like, "It's not you, it's me," like, in that situation, it's 100% true, like, I was battling my own demons and battling my own pain and hurt and just, like, sadness and anger, and I just, like, took it out on anyone that was in my way, and it wasn't right, and there's no excuse for it, but I really am sorry. I don't want you to think, like, because my whole goal for this podcast is, like, I want it to be a safe place for people to listen, to talk, to, like, engage. Like, I have people who engage with me all the time. I'm not saying I'm, like, viral, popular, whatever, but, like, I have people who, like, "Thanks for this," like, "I need to hear this," or, like, "You're a safe place for me." Like, people have literally said that to me, and I'm just like, "Wow, fuck, thank you." Like, that means the world to me because that's all I ever wanted to be. Like, growing up in such an unstable, unhealthy, abusive as fuck environment, it's like, I just want to help as many people as I can. Like, that's my only aside from just, like, being a good mom, good wife, whatever. We're not talking about that right now, right? Right? What matters right now is me. So, I'm saying, like, I just wanna help people. That's, like, one of my biggest goals is, like so I became a cop, like, to help people and, like, save the people who, like when I was in a situation, like, that's when I was a young girl and the cops were at my house, probably once a week, but sometimes, like, 3, 4 times, but I wanted to be that person to come to the rescue and, like, help people, advocate for them, and, like, be their voice when they couldn't speak up. So it's like knowing that I was not a nice person really just I wouldn't say does it like a dig at my ego, but kind of really just like hurts my heart and my soul. Um, and I really am not that person anymore. And I do a lot of like self-reflection and like, okay, pause. What's really going on? Like what you know what I mean? Like I need to talk about it. Like I gotta figure it out. And like when I heard what that person said about me, my first instinct was like, right, like mean girl. Like, what the fuck? But then I'm like, thought about it. I'm like, okay, Britt, well, you like clearly affected her in some way. She did some shitty shit too, but wrongs don't make a right. So you just gotta like accept the fact that like you hurt her in her own ways and like everyone's feelings validated. The way people feel are validated. You can't tell someone they're wrong about the way they feel. So it's like, whatever. She might have done stuff to you. You did stuff to her. She's held on to it. You let it go, but she's held on to it, and that's okay. But it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, it triggered me. So I was like, I'm going to talk about how I was a bully in high school and how I am not that person anymore. And I think it's important to realize like we're growing up, right? Like we're learning how to like navigate life and those years are very important and crucial into like the way we develop. And it's like I could have taken the easy route, done drugs, gone in and out of prison, jail, whatever. But I was like, no, no, no. We are breaking the generation of trauma and whatever. And I'm like, well, why did it got to be with me? Like, why was it up to me to break that? Couldn't somebody like before me do it? So it was a little bit easier for me. But that's just like everyone has their own shit. Like everyone has their own dark past or like dark parts of them. Cause not everybody's life was perfect growing up, right? Like I always talk about like somebody else's trauma might be so my trauma, right? Let me pause. My trauma. The shit I went through, they're like, damn, what the fuck, Britt, right? Like I tell people stuff and they're like, damn, like I thought my shit was bad. Like, no, your stuff still is bad. Like, whatever you went through that was hard for you, that caused an impact on you, your life, your part, doesn't matter. Like, there's no scale on whose trauma was worse because, like, what the fuck? Everyone thinks about things differently. Everyone goes through things differently, and everyone handles things differently. So it's just like, I don't want anyone to sit here and be like, well, Britt, I don't have anything as bad as you. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, I went through some shit, and I always make a joke, like, to, like, my husband or whoever. Some people don't have one parent, like, one parent's a shitbag or has passed away or whatever, But it's like, damn, bro, I got hit with 2, like a double whammy. Like, no mom, no dad. Like, they're alive, but whatever. My family's batshit crazy, majority of them. Like, let's just be honest here. I talked to my cousin Marissa, my brother, and my grandmother. That's it. Everyone else, they have just their own shit. They have their own shit that they're going through, whatever, but they don't know how to be nice. So, okay, another topic for another day. I don't want anyone. I don't want anyone to think like, oh, she's making excuses. Like I've said, I'm not making excuses, but I wanted to address it and I wanted to take full accountability and just like I said, tell you guys that I'm so sorry because you didn't deserve that. And I want to be that safe place for whoever needs it. But just know that the person I used to be was not a reflection of who I am now. It really isn't. And if anyone is going through, being bullied or being the bully, whatever, you're being the bully, I'm not going to say, like, stop doing that. Because it would be so nice if I could tell you to stop doing that and you would stop. But it's not going to stay like this forever. It's not going to stay in this dark place forever. And it's just kind of how you take your trauma and kind of navigate it into how it can be your life. And like I said, I could have went down the path of like drugs, alcohol, in and out of the system, but I chose not to. And I just want people to know that like you're not. I know I always say, oh my gosh, I'm so annoying. Like I say this all the time. You're not alone. Britt, they get it. You're not alone. No, but really, like I felt so alone when I was in high school. Like this is gonna sound so pathetic, but like I had really bad daddy issues. And if you know me, like I was either always one in a relationship or two talking to a guy. And I always put guys above my friends. It's so bad. But in high school, I always put guys above my friends because it's like I was craving that like attention, that little validation of like feeling loved and because I wasn't getting that at home. And then add on my daddy issues. It's like I was like, I don't know, I'm so I'm ashamed of who I used to be, right? Because I would like hook up with guys, do whatever I wanted. Like I could like just like it makes me sick, but I just have to like work on maybe I haven't fully like accepted it because when I talk about it, my stomach starts to hurt. It is what it is. That's always what I say. Whenever something hurts, I'm like, it is what it is. But I was a shit person. I made very bad choices. And just know when you saw me in high school walking around with the water bottle, there was not water in that water bottle. I did get caught at like the end of my senior year. I got like cornered by the school resource officer in my English teacher's class because my friends told on me, which pat on good for you. I'm so proud that you guys told on me because like I needed help. Um but yeah, my friends told on me so I got cornered and then they're like I was like, I'm driving home. They're like, no, you're not. Like your aunt's coming here. I'm like, great, bro. Like she's the one. Ah, never mind. But I got picked up and then I ended up in the hospital. And yeah. But I was drinking non-water in my water bottle for a very long time in school. And again, not proud of it, but I did not know how to cope and deal with the trauma. And again, it just goes back to not having any guidance or support or someone to like teach me. There was so many times like I remember one of my girlfriends slept over and it was no, my mom wasn't living with us at the time. I was living at my grandmother's with my brother and my dad was living there too. And I remember at, like, after dinner at, like, 7 o'clock, I was like, "Alright, we're going to bed," and they're like, "Alright, good night," and, um, I shut the door and, like, we hopped out of my window and we did not come home until the next morning, and nobody knew I was missing. So it's just stuff like that, like, when you're not cared for in those, like, early developmental years, you look for attention elsewhere, and you put up these walls, and that's just what I did. Took me a while to, you know, work through my trauma, like, even my early adulthood, like, I made some poor choices, made some mistakes, learned, grew, and, like, it just kind of happened. I wouldn't even honestly, like, I feel like within the last year or 2, that's kind of when I really, like, started to grow as a person and, like, really, like, think about healing, like, internally in my soul and, like, finding peace, finding genuine happiness, like, being happy within myself, for myself, with myself, and yeah, so, like I said, if I hurt you in any negative way, affected your life in any negative way, I truly am deeply so sorry. Like, please, if you are holding on to it, talk to me. You could talk to me. I won't take offense to it. As long as you're nice. As long as we go about it a nice way. But come to me, talk to me about it. If not, I hope you can like find it within yourself to like let it go after hearing this. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't, that wasn't my intention, right? Like, I didn't want to hurt anyone. I was hurting and I was taking that out on you guys. Well, not you guys, but the people around me that I couldn't hurt because whatever, you know what I mean? So that is all. And I just want to say I'm very proud of myself. Second week in a row, we're going to have a episode up. So I appreciate you guys. I was vulnerable. Don't judge me. I'm sure you won't. You guys are great and I love you all, but all right. So, okay. Bye.